Hello and welcome to Young Minds versus Physics. Today in this video we are going to see the direction and magnitude of the electric field strength due to circular disk, semicircular ring, and even you can say the quarter circular ring, and the infinite plane sheet and all that. And now here in this slide you can see that if a circular disk is placed right horizontally, you can see that the field lines emanating from the area on either side of this, right? And at the center you can see that it is straight, like right now in this slide it is put that its area is along y-axis, right? Its area vector is along y-axis. Therefore you can see that field lines are exactly along the y-axis, exactly at the center of the circular disk. And this circular disk is of finite radius, and thus you can see that there is a change in the direction of the field lines, right, as the point of observation is moving on both sides of the center of the disk, right, on either side of the center of the disk. So this is how the field lines will be. Anyhow, we will be seeing the derivation. And now if it is of a semicircular disk, and again you have to semicircular ring, you have to first consider a quarter circular ring in which you have Ex and Ey like at the ends, and then E being the resultant of Ex and Ey, right? So all the derivation part we are going to see now. And now please like, subscribe, comment and share with your friends, right? And help us in reaching many students. Thank you, and hold on for a moment so that we can go with the derivations. Now let us see the derivation part of electric field of uniformly charged disk. Right? Right. Collection of concentric rings, surface charge density. These two things that you have to remember while you are discussing about circular disk. Okay. That means as how you will be doing it in center of mass to find out where does the center of mass lie for a semicircular disk. Do you remember this? You have learnt until 11th class. There you will be taking the semicircular rings, like all these will be like concentric semicircular rings being placed one over the other. You will be getting a semicircular disk. The same thing you need to put here also, right? So now therefore collection of concentric rings. Immediately whenever it is a circular disk, right, the disk means completely, this is how it is, right? So now it is a charged disk and the charge of the complete disk is Q, right? Now consider a small ring of radius R, right, carrying a charge of dq, and capital R being the radius of the circular disk. Now, so since this is a two-dimensional figure, we are going to take the surface charge density. Surface charge density means charge per area. So therefore sigma is equal to dq by A. Now how can you find out dq? Because sigma is a constant. And now dq is equal to sigma into dA. So when it is dA, which area you have to consider? Area of this ring you are going to consider. So 2 pi r into thickness of the ring dr. 2 pi r into thickness of the ring dr is area. So sigma is equal to dq by 2 pi r dr. Thus we got dq is equal to sigma into 2 pi r dr. Fantastic. Till here though, all the things what you have learnt in your center of mass, based on that, where you will be there, you will be discussing about dm, right? The small mass. Here the small charge you are finding, right? So once when we are done, right, so now you have dq charge here. Now your point where you wanted to find out electric field strength is here on the axis, right? So now if this is r and this is a distance of Ex from the center of the disk, then this is root of r square plus x square. Now apply Coulomb's inverse square law, that's all. So now dEx is equal to, right, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, right, dq into x by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. This is for circular ring. You have already studied circular ring. The same, yeah, I am using it here. Right. Now the thing here is that dq. Now we are going to replace dq with sigma 2 pi r dr. So thus you are going to get it like this. So all the things are getting cancelled and only are left with epsilon naught here. Therefore I am cancelling it here. So therefore sigma x by 2 epsilon naught. Now the remaining factors r dr divided by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. See, x is a constant here at a constant distance of x. Okay, for this particular case it is x, another case x1, another case x2. But to determine this one, small r is the variable. Why? Because see, you can take one ring here, one ring here, one ring here. So all the rings like this. Then only it will become a circular disc, right? So therefore this r varies from 0 to capital R. So which is a variable? Small r is the variable. So since small r is the variable, you are taking x outside. So sigma x by 2 pi epsilon naught. But this is a term which is involving x and r. So therefore you have to take r square plus x square is equal to some u. So that 2r dr is equal to du. So when I want to replace dr with du, right? So I am multiplying this one with 2 and dividing with 2. So therefore I will get this integral term. Only the integral term simplification part I am explaining here. To the BPC students or the NEET going students, this helps you a lot. And even the other students, those who want the details of integration, this is given here. So therefore it is 1 by 2, 2r dr by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. R square plus x square is anyhow u power 3 by 2. When it comes into the numerator, it is u power minus 3 by 2. It is something like x power n dx. So integral x power n dx is x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. That is what we did it here, right? So therefore, x power minus 3 by 2, right? So this one you are doing it. Give me a minute. Alright, so it's visible now. Alright, so minus 3 by 2 plus 1 by this one. So on simplification, you are going to get it as minus u power minus 1 by 2. That means minus 1 by square root of u. Done? So minus 1 by square root of u. Where square root of u is r square plus x square under root. So this one you are taking it back. Right? So sigma x by 2 epsilon naught. This integration part we have seen here. So that is giving 1 by root of r square plus x square. That is from 0 to capital R. Now applying the limits, you will be getting here upper limit capital R square plus x square. When you apply the lower limit, it is r square becomes 0. So therefore 1 by x square under root is 1 by x. Minus of minus plus 1 by x. So this is the simplification part. And then now bringing this x inside, you will get sigma by 2 epsilon naught into 1 minus x by root of r square plus x square, or r square plus x square whole power 1 by 2. Okay. So now let me eliminate x in order to understand the concept, and whenever we are applying, so better you bring everything in terms of r, right? And a comparison between r and x. We want to bring out the derivation in such a manner that you can have a comparison between r and x. So therefore dividing by x square everywhere, by x everywhere, and inside the root it is x square, r square by x square plus 1, and that x square x outside the root is x, and x will get cancelled. So what we are left here is 1 minus 1 by square root of r square plus x square plus 1. Clear? Any doubt? So let me explain this again. So okay, now here itself you divide this expression with x square. Okay, so that means r square by x square plus x square by x square is 1. Okay, so this is under root or whole power 1 by 2. So that x square, whatever you are dividing and multiplying, no, you are multiplying this with x square, dividing with x square, right? So now x square when multiplied under the root it is x. X will get cancelled. Clear? So thus you will get this one. Now this factor r square by x square, this is what which is going to help us a lot. Right? Suppose if you take a disk whose radius is very, very, very high. Right? Very, very high. Usually we talk about very, very, very high in the sense you can also extend this topic to infinite plane. Right? So infinite charged plane. Right? So therefore, when if that is the case, r square is far greater than x square. So this value increases dramatically, very high. So therefore, the ratio decreases and it tends to 0. When it tends to 0, you are left with sigma by 2 epsilon naught into 1. So therefore, that is what we are saying now here. When r is far greater than x, right? When r is far greater than x, you have this value tending to 0. Therefore, Ex is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Right? So, now infinite plane sheet. Right? So, this is something like infinite plane sheet. When you talk about infinite plane sheet, students, please remember this. We are extending the circular disk to infinite plane sheet. Okay? When you talk about the infinite plane sheet, see, when you observe this relationship, neither you have the distance where the point, at what point you are finding it, nor you have any specific shape of this one. Is it not? So once when the surface density, surface charge density of the sheet is given, that's it. It is done. You can find out E. And this E is going to be constant at every point, like which is directed perpendicular to the plane of the sheet. Right, perpendicular to the plane of the sheet, and it is always constant, immaterial of the distance. Like that means if there is an infinite plane of sheet, right, so which is positively charged. So I am taking positively charged to show you the direction. So the direction is like this. Here also it is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Here also it is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So wherever you take, when you talk about infinite plane of sheet, right, sigma by 2 epsilon. Of course, it is only theoretical consideration. You don't have a plane of infinite plane of sheet, right? Practically it does not exist, but theoretically we talk about it. So in order to solve the problems. Clear? So I'll repeat the whole thing again. So you are taking a circular disk of radius capital R and a charge Q, and you wanted to find the electric field strength on the axis. And let the axis which is passing through the center is x-axis here, the other one is y-axis here. And now you see that at a distance of x you want to find out here. So in order to determine because of the whole sheet, what you are doing, you are taking it as a series of concentric circular rings. So let us consider one ring at a distance of r from here, whose charge is very, very small because you are taking only a portion of the circular disk, only a portion of the charge is here dq, and it is at a distance of root of r square plus x square, and you are going to find out dx. So now why are we finding out dx? Already you know that one. So dy in this direction, because of this one, again dy in this direction, they will get cancelled, and that is what you have theoretically seen already in case of the circular ring. So you are applying the direct concept here in place of circular ring, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq x by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. This is from circular ring concept. Now the problem here is we have to find out dq. So while determining dq here, this is a two-dimensional object. So therefore you will take surface charge density. Sigma is equal to q by a. That is sigma is equal to dq by dA. What is the area of the ring? 2 pi r into thickness of the ring dr. So 2 pi r dr is the area of the ring. So thus you got dq value. Now substituting dq here, so you got something like where r square and x square are inside like means are interdependent terms here. So therefore x is a constant, we will bring it out, but here r square plus x square, you imagine it to be some u in order to integrate. So that means this integral we are doing it separately here. So r square plus x square is equal to u. If you say 2r dr is equal to du, because x is a constant here. Right. So therefore, I want 2r dr in order to replace it with du. I have only r dr. So I am multiplying and dividing with, right? I am multiplying and dividing with 2 in this integration. So therefore half 2r dr divided by r square plus x square whole power 3. Now it's very easy. 2r dr is replaced by u du, and r square plus x square is replaced by u power 3 by 2. That means u power minus 3 by 2. It is x power minus n dx. So now on integration and right. So you are getting, upon integration, you are getting this as a final answer, that is minus 1 by r square plus x square whole power 1 by 2. Fantastic. This one you are bringing it here. Now the rings are like starting from origin, the rings will spread out till capital R. So the limits are 0 to R. So therefore you are applying the limits and then simplifying and bringing it in terms of r square by x square in order to make a comparative study that if x is greater or r is greater, what is going to happen. Now when r is far greater than x, obviously this whole fraction tends to 0. Therefore Ex is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So this is for a circular ring, circular disc, right? Circular disc with very higher radius. That means almost like when r is greater than x means you are talking about, you can extend this topic to infinite plane sheet, right? Yeah, please pause and then note it down. I'll give you a minute. So now what do you see on the screen? Right? Field due to two oppositely charged sheets. That means you are taking it as infinite sheets. Okay? So when you talk about infinite sheets, I am taking negative here and positive here. So that means my field direction is in negative x-axis direction. So okay, I took it like that. So now here if you talk about, because of this one, how the electric field is created around. Okay, that is important. Now take this plate first. So whenever you talk about electric field strength, just imagine your mind in unit positive charge. So that means the field direction is like this because of plate 1. And if I leave unit positive charge here, because of plate 2, there is an attractive force in this direction. That means E2 is in opposite direction to E1 on the right hand side of this positive plate. Okay, so therefore, so they will get cancelled here. Why will they get cancelled? Only when the magnitudes are equal, then only they'll get cancelled, because directions are already opposite. Now, how do you conclude that magnitudes are equal? Already just now we discussed that for infinite plane, what is the E value? Sigma by 2 epsilon naught. It's constant. Whether it is here, here or anywhere. Electric field strength is having same magnitude. So E1 is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. E2 is also by sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So therefore, you will have, because we have considered both to be of sigma. If this is going to be changed, then definitely they won't get cancelled and you will have some other thing. Right? Clear? Right. Very good. So now E1 and E2, they'll get cancelled here. Now observe here this region. So now here also, because of E1 it is away from the parallel plates, and because of E2 it is towards the plates. So therefore, and again opposite directions, magnitudes are equal, so therefore the sum is 0. And now within the plates, if you see, in between the two plates, if you see, right, so therefore anywhere at any point it is sigma by 2 epsilon naught because of this, and because of this also in the same direction, because if you imagine a unit positive charge, it is pushed here and this is pulled in this direction. So both are, E1 and E2 are in the same direction. So therefore they will add up together to form sigma by epsilon naught. So therefore electric field strength between two infinitely plane sheets is sigma by epsilon naught. Clear? Yeah, please make a note of that one so that we'll go to another concept. These are all the applications of what we have already learnt. We learnt the standard things like for infinite line of charge, for circular plane disc and circular ring. We have seen all these things. Already we learnt in detail, right? Applying integration wherever it is necessary. Right, now we are seeing the applications of those concepts, right? So now next one is semi-infinite rod. Semi-infinite rod means one end is to infinity and the other end you have it. Right, so at this point you have Ex and Ey both and Ex is equal to lambda by 4 pi epsilon naught R naught. Right, Ey is also the same thing, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into lambda by R naught. It is easy way of remembering, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into lambda by R naught. Whenever 4 pi epsilon naught exists in the formula, no, try to keep it like that only. Right, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into lambda by R naught. So therefore you have Ex and Ey both along X axis and Y axis. Right, here in this particular case I have taken the bottom end here, so Ey is along the negative Y axis, so therefore it is lambda by 4 pi epsilon naught, right, into R naught, this one. So that is why lambda 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into lambda by R naught, I cap minus j cap is E bar. So now what is magnitude of this? I square plus j square under root. That means 1 square plus 1 square under root is root 2. So therefore this is the magnitude. E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught lambda by R naught into root 2. Clear? Right? So we are not bothered about the other end because other end is extending to infinity. That is the meaning of semi-infinite rod. Semi-infinite rod. Okay. So now as we have considered a part of circular ring and then we determined r d theta, right, between the limits, right. Similarly here when you apply those limits and you will get like that means 0 to pi by 2, suppose if you take, then that will become a quarter circular ring. Now you may wonder why did I leave this. I'll explain you why I left it now and I have jumped to this. So now see, in the circular ring you have taken a small element dq and then making an angle theta with the line joining the point of consideration, and you have taken r d theta, is it not? Right? Similarly here if you take the limits from, right, because what is dE is equal to dE cos theta. E is equal to integral dE cos theta, where dE is equal to r d theta cos. So therefore, so in place of this one dE cos theta, so when you will get dq while replacing and then applying the limits, you have already seen the circular ring. The same concept if you extend here, right, between the limits 0 and pi by 2, then you will get Ex is lambda by 4 pi epsilon naught, Ey is lambda by 4 pi epsilon naught, right, and then the resultant of these two is lambda by 4 pi epsilon naught or root 2. Okay, so this is what. Now the same can be assumed here in case of a semicircular ring as a combination of two quarter circular rings. Got it? That is why I left it here. You can do the same thing, r d theta concepts like d theta, like variation from again like what do you say, minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 or like that, right? So then now you have here applying those limits and finding it out, or the other way around, easy way, because all the time you cannot sit and then derive it, right? So directly remembering how to remember this. So this is here. So here because of one quarter ring you have Ex here and Ey here. And because of the other quarter, Ey is here, Ex is here. That means if I know this one, automatically Ey will get cancelled. So it is 2Ex. Fantastic. Very easy to remember. 2Ex into I cap is the electric field strength, where Ex is lambda by 4 pi epsilon naught r 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into lambda by r. See, this is the most general formula. Most of the places you are getting the same, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught lambda by r naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught lambda by r naught. So therefore now 2 times of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into lambda by r into I cap is E bar. E bar when you wanted to write it in the vector form, or the magnitude of is to lambda by, if you cancel it like this, or 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught to lambda by r, whichever you feel convenient to remember, you can remember. Ultimately what we want is a solution to the problem. Okay, so whether you remember this or this, but it is very, very important to have all these formulae on your tips. You should know the concept behind how you derived it. That is definitely very, very important. At the same time, having all the formulae on the tips is also very, very important. Clear? So please make a note of this one. I'll give you a minute of time. No, this is also like generalizing the concept, like 4-point charges at vertices of square, right? That means symmetrical. The distribution of the charges is not continuous. Distribution is of course discrete, but symmetrical distribution is there, right? From the point of consideration, there is kind of symmetrical distribution. So such cases, now if they are given, how to solve, right? Easy way, direct way of doing it. I am talking about like how directly you can do it, rather than like taking a thing and applying Coulomb's inverse square law for each and everything and then determining the final resultant and all the general formula of how to solve it, right? So now here you have a square, right? On the axis, like you have at a point P, you wanted to find out the electric field strength. So now if you imagine, because of each charge, so you have, suppose Q3 charge. Now there is a E3 acting here in this direction, because I am taking all positive charges away from. Right. Now if you resolve this is Ex. Right. And now from here you have something like again along E1. Right. And then because of this is Ex again. Right. So what is happening here is that the sum total of the X component of all these will be the electric field strength in this. Okay. So therefore what is Ex is equal to E1 cos theta plus E2 cos theta plus E3 cos theta plus E4 cos theta, when all 4 charges are different. When all 4 charges are same, so then it is E bar is equal to 4E1 cos theta I cap. Clear? Very clear. This is very, very easy. Same you go with the triangle. At the 3 vertices of the triangle, at this point, because of this charge, this is how the field is. Because of this charge, this is how the field is. So now along y direction. Now here though I took the diagram in this manner. So therefore now my axis is here along y axis. So therefore now when all the 3 charges are different, that is E1 cos theta plus E2 cos theta plus E3 cos theta, right, into j cap. Into j cap. That becomes the vector. Now suppose if all 3 are equal, Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to 3E1 cos theta into j cap. Right. So this is about the symmetrical distribution of the charges. Okay. Right. So now the next one here is that suppose there are 2-point charges, like suppose like a dipole. Okay. So because of this it is E2, because of this it is E1. Right. If suppose 2 charges are equal and opposite signs, it is a dipole. If different charges are there, then again E1 bar plus E2 bar cos theta, or E1 plus E2 into cos theta I cap, because here the axis you are taking it as I cap, right? So, or when Q1 is equal to Q2, E net is equal to E1 cos theta. Very silly. All these things are of the same kind. No need to discuss so much. But just like that I am giving you so that you may not neglect this as a concept which is not so important, but it is also important because you are going to use this concept. Already we used just now for a semicircular ring and quarter ring also, that is E net is equal to dE cos theta. The same concept we used, and I said like you can apply the limits there. Right. So this is very, very important concept where you have to remember. So when it is of something like completely, right, what is the difference between this and the remaining concepts? So the charges here are discrete, right? The distribution is symmetrical distribution, right? But it is discrete. And now here it is continuous charge distribution. Whenever it is continuous charge distribution, the summation takes the form of integration. Right? Very, very simple and the basic general concepts, right? But very important to be revised whenever, wherever there is a need for us to revise. Okay? So this is all for today, and please subscribe, share with your friends. Definitely, like when you watch these videos and when the concepts are clear to you, so you will start loving physics. Thank you for listening.